What's up, Chad? How we doing?
Hey, not much, Isaac. How are you? I'm pretty good.
Good. I couldn't figure out, if you're an IPA guy or a light beer guy, so I grabbed you 2 beers for the beers and browns.
Well, I much appreciate the offer, but given the circumstances, I'm going to have to decline the option this morning. So.
Okay. And I mean, it is 9 o'clock in the morning. I got an idea. Be right back. All right. How about coffees and browns?
Now you're talking a little bit more my style.
I mean, it is 9 o'clock in the morning. What was I thinking?
The first thing I think of in the morning is where can I get my cup of coffee, not how many tickets I can write today. So.
Well, Chad, I mean, it is February. It's going to be a nice week this week, but it's got me really excited for spring. And I know it's going to have a lot of the viewers and the anglers excited for springtime. And stocking's right around the corner. When is the Fish Commission going to stock?
Well, the Fish Commission is going to start stocking in March, and it goes all the way to the end of April. Sometimes to the end of March, to the end of May, and sometimes it gets into even June. Specifically, April 4th and April 25th are the days that we're going to be stocking the stretch and the section up into Tioga County from Slate Run up to Blackwell of Pine Creek. So, if you like to stock trout in the spring or have some kids in your life or other family members that are excited about trout stocking, bring them out. We're going to be meeting at the Waterville Post Office those days, and if anything changes, consult our website, certainly, fishandboat.com. We have our app, Fishboat PA, uses your location services, and you're able to find a stocking that way as well. So,
nice. Talk about this Keystone Select area that we mentioned earlier before we started filming. Whereabouts is it? And
okay, that's a really good question. So, my motto in my district is if you have a really good idea, something that you see the Fish and Boat Commission could do better, something that the Fish and Boat Commission can change at a localized level, bring it to my attention. So about maybe last March, I guess, last February, I was contacted by the local Trout Unlimited group in Tioga County, the Tie Dot chapter, and they said, hey, why aren't we stocking any more fish in the fall in the delayed harvest section in Ansonia? I said, well, I don't really know. So I did some research, and it turns out that we weren't stocking because there were some attraction issues. People just weren't using the resource. So I consulted our fisheries manager, and he said, at this time it's not really a feasible option for us to do a fall stocking. So trying to problem solve the issue, said, how can we bring more attention to this particular area of the county? There's a $1.2 billion fishing industry in Pennsylvania, and Tioga County could use a lot of that. Mm-hmm. So how do we bring that income into the county? How do we bring more people into utilizing that resource and accomplishing the goal of getting more people fishing in the fall? And the Fish and Boat Commission implemented the Keystone Select water. So say if we stock 1,000 trout in that section of water, a certain percentage of those fish are going to be large fish, 15 to 20 inches. You may get a couple of outliers that are pushing 25 inches.
Nice.
So what the Fish and Boat Commission did was we converted that delayed harvest artificial lures only section in Ansonia on Pine Creek to a Keystone Select water, which is still managed under a delayed harvest regulation, but now anglers are going to have the opportunity to have a more attractive fishing opportunity to pursue larger trout, and we've considered, hopefully that's going to create enough interest in that area that people are going to come in the fall, and they're going to spend their money at local businesses. They're going to spend their time fishing for these big trout, and then we're going to be able to stock in the fall. So we do have a float stock plan for that section on the 16th of March. We're meeting at Darling Run access area at the rail trail, and it's going to be a fun time. So we're trying to we have a local news group that's coming out. We're going to publicize it a little bit, get people excited about that area, and hopefully come into experience as close to a Montana Lake experience as what we can get in the Pine Creek Valley and in the canyon.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, good, as you should be. All right, time to get serious. Boating safety. We had 2 incidents last year. It's unfortunate, but I mean, early spring, there's always usually going to be high water, and the chances of accidents happening. And for boating safety, what are some of the requirements that you would need if you were to go out, canoe, kayak, whatever? Raft?
Okay, and this is a challenging topic. The Fish and Boat Commission certainly has, we regulate all boating activity in the Commonwealth. You've had to have there's certain safety equipment that you've had to have on your canoe or kayak, on your motorboat for a very long time. It's not something that's new. What I've seen is there's been an explosion of users in the paddling sports. So canoes and kayaks, they're very accessible.
Mm-hmm.
They're very cheap, and you can go to your local Dollar General and pick up a canoe or a kayak for a weekend trip to Pine Creek.
Yeah.
So it's challenging when you're in a law enforcement position to where you have functions that are related to law enforcement within recreation, and part of that sometimes is issuing citations. We don't try to go out and write as many citations as what we possibly can. Mm-hmm. We don't have a quota. We are set to a standard of fair enforcement and public education when necessary. So it's sometimes people fail to educate themselves, and sometimes when they're out on the water, it gets them jammed up with maybe a citation or a verbal or a written type of warning or something like that. So it's been my goal this year to try to alleviate some of those issues that people have been experiencing, and really reach out with the public education. Okay, so when you get your canoe or your kayak or a motorboat or anything like that, but you can't have motorboats on Pine Creek above the 44 bridge. So
okay,
if you're new to paddle sports, if you're new to Pine Creek or not new, you have to have a life jacket on your canoe or kayak. It has to be in good serviceable condition. So what that means is all your zippers, your buckles, your straps, the float material's not protruding from or about the vest. Mm-hmm. It's in good shape. It's as the manufacturer intended it. You have to be using that life jacket within the label that the U.S. Coast Guard has on the jacket itself. And you have to have some sort of sound producing device, a bell, horn, or a whistle. And that doesn't mean your cell phone. That doesn't mean, hey, I can hear you. Like the analogy I use is the scene at the end of the Titanic. Rose and Jack are on the door mm-hmm. after the Titanic sinks, and what saves Rose's life at the end? A whistle. Yeah. She's cold, she can't hear, she's obviously in shock, hypothermic, and a whistle saves her life. Yeah. So you need a life jacket, you need a whistle, and between the periods of November 1st to April 30th, so with trout season coming up, mm-hmm. I know a lot of people use Pine Creek, a lot of people use Little Pine Lake, and all canoes and kayaks and all boats less than 16 feet, whether you're at anchor or underway, you have to have a life jacket on no matter your age. So if you're somebody that does have little kids and they're 12 years of age or younger, mm-hmm. and they're on a boat, or they're on a canoe or a kayak, they have to have it on at all times. Whether they're just paddling out back for a little bit, taking an extended trip from one point of the creek to the other, that user has to have that life jacket on, and it has to be serviceable and used for that person. So you're not going to put an infant life jacket on a youth, and you're not going to put an adult life jacket on an infant. Mm-hmm. So it's important that you're recognizing that. And any boat 20 feet or less, that person has to have a youth 12 and under has to have a life jacket on whenever that motorboat is underway. So okay. Something to keep in mind. Also, if you do find yourself out floating, leave a float plan. Make sure that people know where you're at, and make sure that You may scout out the water, so look for any strainers. I am attempting to have a safe boating course before trout season on Pine Creek. I just need to find a venue, so I'm hoping that right before trout season that anybody that's interested will come out and take my safe boating course. We have a lot of fun with them. We try to make them very family and friend oriented, and we try to alleviate any question or concern with that. So. Does that answer your question?
It does. It does. I mean, they're not. You guys aren't trying to, rule with an iron fist around here. I mean, you're trying to make it safe.
Well, certainly. In my experience last year, I had to investigate a couple of fatalities on Pine Creek, and being a young guy, 26, having to call family members, have to sit down with an individual's mom or dad or husband or wife, that is challenging, and that was something that was a bit of an experience for me. Like, I would rather somebody be upset with me for a $75 citation for not having their life jacket on their boat or not wearing it than me have to investigate their death and then have to reach out to their families. So that's kind of where I'm at with that, and I try to be as reasonable as what I can and work within the scope of scope of the law. Like, I can't do things illegally. Like, I have to, if I see something unliable, and I have to deal with it accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. But well, I think that covers this episode of Beers and Browns. Is there anything else?
Well, one more thing. I think I saw Tom hit on it on the last episode there.
What
I've done, I've really made an attempt to try to reach out to all the small businesses, Ludwig's Bed and Breakfast, McConnell's Country Store, Slate Run Store, and get these safe boating handbooks out there. This is something that does come with a safe boating course, but every time you buy a launch permit for your canoe or your kayak or your John boat, if you're going to use it on Pine Creek, I'm hoping to get these distributed so folks do know the rules and the regulations associated with boating. I did put my card on the front, so if anybody has any questions, they'll have my card. Contact our North Central Region office. They will get you in touch with me, and if there's anybody else out there that has a small business or anything like that that's interested in public education and solving a PR issue on Pine Creek, maybe then we can certainly get in touch and get these books out to educate the public.
Yeah. All right. That sounds good, Chad. Well, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Here.
Thank you, Isaac.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
And is it creek or crick?
Crick.
Oh, jeez.
It's a crick. Big Pine Creek, Little Pine Creek.